At Hasanabai, if you are in favor of protesting their government, why are you critical of the Jan 6th protest? I'm very curious.
Was it this?
At this, but the president of Cuba did directly accuse the United States of basically fomenting these protests because of the embargo, and that leading to a lack of medicine and the other things. Do you have a specific response to him?
Well, I'd first say that the U.S. embargo allows humanitarian goods to reach Cuba. We expedite any request to export humanitarian or medical supplies to Cuba. That continues to be the case.
Yeah, they expedite it, dude. Okay, well, the question is, why do you have to fucking stop it? Like, why can't it go directly? Why does there need to be an expedited process to begin with? How about no process? Because the question isn't like, hey, are you doing a good job with the embargo? The question is, why is there a fucking embargo? So this is not a proper answer, okay? It's a great way to deflect, though, because dumbass liberals will be like, oh, well, they're expediting the medicine. It's like, dude, but why?
3 months.
Why is there a process in which, like, it's coming into America and then being expedited to Cuba? Okay? Why? And by the way, the expedited is fucking bullshit too. There's still like month-long processes for all of this stuff. The 2000 Act by Clinton technically allows trade of... Okay, so there is also like the legislative background here as well. As far as like, oh, well, why is it so hard to dismantle? Like, some of the components require congressional approval and shit like that. It's like, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the ethics and the morality of having an embargo to begin with. No, I'm not going to watch the bad empanada video right now, okay? Hold on. For the record, this is an embargo that the entire fucking planet has voted to lift, okay? In the latest UN Council. Except for 2 countries. Every single fucking country voted to lift the embargo. Those 2 countries were the United States of America and Israel. Aren't they just saying they send it as fast as possible? I don't agree with U.S. sanctions and do think this is mostly just bullshit PR, but I'm a bit confused. They're saying that... Okay. So the way this works is... When goods are being shipped to Cuba, they're intercepted or stopped at American ports. In those American ports, if it's going to Cuba, they hold those goods, those commodities that Cubans have paid for, okay, but the Cuban government has paid for, and they literally hold on to it for an extended period of time as they search those goods to make sure that, you know, there's no baddies in there, okay? There's no. There's only goods, no bads, okay? And what they're basically saying in their PR opportunity here is that, well, when there are syringes, we just expedite that process. It's like, okay, but that process should not exist. You understand?
Hi, Hasan. Looking cute today.
That process is completely unacceptable. And also, it's bullshit that they're saying that, you know, we're just like expediting those goods because there's clearly still... I obviously support lifting the Cuban embargo, but can't Cuba engage in trade with other countries? No. No, they can't. They still try to, and they sometimes do. They engage in like they engage in oil trade with Venezuela, for example, but that's extremely limited because Venezuela is another country that the United States is trying to have a stranglehold on. But no, Cuba can't fucking trade with other countries because America will put sanctions on them. America threatens the rest of the world with sanctions if the rest of the world decided to trade with Cuba. How are you going to tell me this tiny ass fucking island is so threatening? How are you going to sit here and act like communism is so fucking bad, but you still need to have a 70-year fucking embargo and they're still alive? Do you think that they are just all hipsters there? Is that why the cars are from the fucking 50s on the island?
Sanctions monkeys.
Is that why? Because they just love, you know, old school vehicles? Is that why you think they still have, like, you know, technology of the fucking 50s and 60s? Having said that, there are still countries that trade with Cuba. But again, that's like under close watch of the United States. But hey, maybe they'll expedite that. So, they were extremely dangerous to the U.S. during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, fucking keep murdering them for generations then, dude. Fuck it. I don't even think they deserve food then. And guess what? They were extremely dangerous to the U.S. during the Cuban Missile Crisis. How about the U.S. was extremely dangerous to them during the Cuban Missile Crisis, motherfucker? Go read a goddamn book. The only reason why there was a fucking missile there to begin with was because they put missiles in Turkey. Idiot. America, under NATO, put missile bases in Turkey that were pointed towards the USSR. What the fuck are you talking about? They were, as always, or rather, we were, the United States of America, as always, at the forefront. We're the one that delivered the first blow. No, totally, dude. Trying to murder a leader, a foreign leader, over and over again for like 60 fucking years, dude. And having this like crippling embargo for 70. Totally normal, totally justifiable for this tiny island. Just let them fail, dude.
What?
Let them fail. Let them engage in global trade and let them fucking fail. If they're going to fail, they're going to fail. If socialism is so bad, let the Cuban people have autonomy, okay? Let the Cuban government have autonomy.
Those were freedom missiles.
So anyone who looks at all of this, anyone who hears me speak like this, and still tries to justify this process is delusional. And this is the reason why when I see people protesting on the streets, when they say, we want fucking vaccines, we want to be able to live our lives, we want food, we don't want inflation. When I hear that, I say, I completely understand where those people are coming from. I do. It is a normal and healthy part of any country to have your citizens rise the fuck up sometimes when your government is fucking up. There are other problems in Cuba beyond that, in the way that it's governed. But again, most of that is to counter the oppressive American imperialist methods of trying to control and spark uprisings within Cuba. They wouldn't have to do any of that if people were so fucking pissed off that they're just going to, like, you know, rise up on their own.
We made it to 7
Let
months.
them fail equals Cubans starve and die? No, motherfucker, I'm being sarcastic. That's not going to happen. I don't even really understand why anyone would defend the embargo, to be honest. Which is why people don't talk about the embargo, and they hyper focus on like the Cuban government actually being terrible, and the real reason why people are actually fucking rising up is because they hate communism. Like, sure, I'm sure there's people that fucking hate communism. Okay? Certainly. But that's not the reason why people are fucking rising up, dude. But there's a specific reason as to why we are having a conversation not about like the insane elephant in the fucking room in the form of a fat embargo and sanctions and threats, or even like the only kind of aid allowed is to is offered to non-government organizations, i.e., like, you know, CIA approved orgs that are there to, I guess, disrupt Cuban operations and like topple communism. And this isn't even like a conspiracy theory. They try and fail regularly in Cuba to topple the administration, as America has done time and time again in Latin American countries. If you're unfamiliar with the history of American involvement in Latin American countries, read up on it. I was listening to a streamer after you ended last night, and they claimed that leftists wanting the trade embargo isn't morally consistent. What? Dude, I don't care about fucking dumb white Americans and what they perceive to be morally consistent, okay? I don't care. That's an idiotic fucking argument. And if you care about that, then I'm sorry to tell you, this is probably not the best community for you, okay? Moral consistency in trade. Like, what are you, Ben Shapiro? Go watch Ben Shapiro then, idiot. I'm serious. And also, stop Pepe Le D fucking spam, dude. That's so stupid. Like, okay, dude. Oh my God, moral consistency. Yeah, America's doing Cuba a favor by fucking stopping Cuba from doing trade with other countries in the way that they want to. Anyway. It's so fucked up. The Cuban revolution turned autocratic. Why didn't they just try to implement land reform and reduce Western corporate exploitation in a democratic manner the way Guatemala did in the 1950s? That went swimmingly, right? Yeah, of course it didn't. The chatter is being sarcastic. Yeah, exactly. But there is a perfect world out there in which authoritarianism should not exist in like regular the regular forming of a social democratic government, okay? But unfortunately, there are a million different fucking examples in Latin American countries where such a thing occurs, and then, oops, paramilitary death squads and a coup d'etat. Okay? Oh, man, how did that happen? What? That's crazy. Fuck, dude. Anyway.
A person I knew from high school back in Iowa.
People
told me that
protested
he
the
should
rightfully
have
elected
turned
president after
place
the
to
revolution
grass
in
when
Egypt in
he couldn't
2014. He
because
got
people
military
who
coup and now it's a
communism
fucked up
was
regime.
subhuman,
Yeah.
and it's still the most insane take I've heard to this day. Finally figured out how to link my Prime account. Lol.
I still believe you're framing the protest too much around the U.S. Yes, the embargo is 1,000% bad, but calling it the elephant when Cuba doesn't even have things like a full and fair democracy and unrestricted internet access, unrestricted internet is off, in my opinion. No, I don't think so. Because both of those fucking conversations unironically revolve as a defense mechanism, or rather a fucking argument for why American involvement in Cuba has genuinely crippled Cuba and its development as a democratic nation. Because the reason why there's so much restriction, which is completely fucking unacceptable, completely unacceptable, is because they don't want this to happen, dude. That's it.
We live in a society where libs and pitbull join hands against communism. Gang.
You're gonna tell me that, like, these dudes have been trying to murder the fucking government for, like, the heads of government for, like, 60 years. Multiple attempts on assassinations and shit like that. You're gonna tell me that it's, like, insignificant, dude? Half the chat wanted like, literally a military takeover when they saw January 6th. Imagine, like, just, can you imagine for a brief moment, like, people want to fucking nuke Russia because they bought Facebook ads. Okay? Could you imagine if there was, like, a country that was routinely trying to execute our head of state? Okay? Constantly a much larger and much more powerful country that's like right up our fucking asshole, constantly trying to execute our head of state, constantly trying to fucking funnel funds into, psychotic like neo-Nazi groups to grow that, to make a robust neo-Nazi fascist movement in America, to have like a fascist takeover, okay, of the country. Over and over again. They do this, and they do it, they try to do it successfully. A country that then tries to fucking invade us, okay? A country that literally stops all of our trade. It's like unimaginable because we are the hegemonic, dominating power, okay? We are literally the main superpower on the planet. So it's impossible for so many of you sheltered, privileged Americans to even comprehend a world in which there is a much more powerful country that is literally stopping you from trading in the way that you want to with the rest of the fucking world. And you do that over and over again, and the only aid that you're like allowing the country to get is aid that you have designated for, anti-government groups.
Let Cuba be communist and trade with me. I want Cuban money.
I think you would probably want some kind of control in order to maintain your autonomy. Okay? That's where this comes from. And it's still fucking unacceptable. I get it. And for the record, this is precisely why I always say, if the embargo is not contributing to horrible conditions in Cuba, then why hasn't it stopped? Like, what reason
really rocks.
What reason could there be to continue this 70-year fucking lock restricting trade in Cuba? Because if socialism is so bad, then, they'll fail on their own, You don't have to tilt the scales.
If you take a poll among U.S. intellectuals, support for bombing Afghanistan is just overwhelming. How many of them think that you should bomb Washington because of the U.S. war against Nicaragua, let's say, or Cuba, or Turkey, or anyone else? If anyone were to suggest this, they'd be considered insane. But why? I mean, if one is right, why is the other wrong? When you try to get someone to talk about this question, they just will try. They can't comprehend what your question is. Because you cannot comprehend that we should apply to ourselves the standards you apply to others.
This is the original 9/11 Andy. Like, the OG 9/11 Andy.
That is incomprehensible. Now, there couldn't be a moral principle more elementary. I mean, all I have to do is read George Bush's favorite philosopher. There's a definition, famous definition in the Gospels of the hypocrite. I mean, the hypocrite is the person who refuses to apply to himself the standards he applies to others. By that standard, just, the entire commentary and discussion of the war, so-called war on terror, is pure hypocrisy, virtually without exception.
If you post this Tucker Carlson's a communist video one more time, I'm going to permanently ban you, and I'm going to put a mod, I'm going to put a literal fucking mod note to never unban you, okay? I get it, bro. You think Tucker Carlson's a communist, okay? I got it. He's such a communist, okay? Look at this, dude. Look at yourself. Look. I promise you, if you spammed it this much, I saw it, I noticed it, and I'm avoiding it. Jesus Christ. Tucker Carlson's not a fucking communist, dude. Oh.
Can anybody understand that? No. Can't understand it.
So, I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize how much America's fucked up the rest of the world prior to watching your streams. I was vaguely aware, but had no idea to the extent that we do it. Thank you. I mean, yeah, this is a fundamental part of why I believe what I believe. It's just like, if you close your eyes and yell la 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 la, I can't hear you, then yes. Or are educated on a completely fallacious, made up way of analyzing history and America's historic wrongs, then yeah, you're just gonna be like, yeah, this seems normal. I don't know why. You don't even think about it. You don't even consider it.
Well, why don't they go to the electorate then in Cuba? If Fidel Castro is so fundamentally popular, why not make the transition to democracy now?
Well, when the United States lifts the state of war and siege on Cuba,
but that's irrelevant,
normal life can...
How can you say that's irrelevant, dude? That's literally not irrelevant. They're in a constant state of war with a much larger, much more powerful country. This is, by the way, the exact same take that I have. Dude, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant, bruv. I don't understand. That's irrelevant. Oh, yeah, dude? Yeah. Let me do war on your family. See if you start thinking about, shoring up your borders and your security internally.
No, it's absolutely relevant. When Hitler was at the Channel ports threatening to invade us, there wasn't much democracy, and if you'd wandered around the East End proselytizing for Hitler, you wouldn't have lasted long.
Today.
There's every threat. They've tried to kill Fidel Castro hundreds of times. They've invaded countries all over the world, thousands of miles from their shores.
Hitler didn't stop democracy in Britain.
Yes, he did, as a matter of fact. Many democratic freedoms were suspended in Britain, especially for those who were proselytizing for Hitler. And that's the comparison that you have to make.
We didn't lose the vote.
Notwithstanding that siege. No, you did actually. If you knew anything about British history, you'd know there were no elections.
By the way, that's the same as like during World War II, even in America, like the Sedition Act, dude. Have you heard of it? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I love when people always say stuff like, oh, well, the Russians were murdering people who didn't fight. It's like, dude, we fucking jailed people who didn't go to the draft either. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, we absolutely also totally, justifiably, understandably took away liberties in time of war. Wrong about everything, lol? Me? Or are you talking about the other dude? The only Italian who doesn't care about soccer.
Are you saying universal suffrage?
Like, we don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. And that should probably show you how little... By the way, there were unjustifiable things that we did too, like internment camps. Do not misunderstand me. But... we don't even do that anymore to the same degree because we're not fighting real wars. We're just fighting never-ending wars against insurgencies, okay? So it's counterinsurgency wars that don't even require us to, stop the economy and hyper-focus on, finishing this war. As a matter of fact, the military-industrial complex relies on there being a never-ending war. We have created this entire system in an effort to just like keep doing war, but far away, to counter insurgencies and not even give a shit. But we did it after 9/11 with the Patriot Act as well.
Was ended by Hitler in the 30s.
The parties didn't fight each other throughout the course of the Second World War.
What about in the 30s when Hitler was on our doorstep?
Let's talk about Cuba for a minute, can we? When Hitler was on our doorstep, democratic freedoms were curtailed in Britain. The United States is on the doorstep of Cuba and has tried to destroy it for nearly 50 years, and so some democratic freedoms are suspended.
So where do you see the future then? I mean, do you see the revolution continuing post-Fidel, or do you think there will be some sort of transition?
despite your propaganda, socialism will
come
survive
on, it's
in
not
Cuba.
propaganda. These are simple questions.
It's Fox News propaganda, which I've come to get used to
All
from
right.
Channel 4 News.
All right, fine.
This is
We'll
Fox
put aside
News Bush
look, we will put
propaganda.
aside the abuse. I'm asking you a simple question about how you see the future of Cuba. Do you think there will be some transition?
Socialism will survive. I know that makes you sad, but it will survive. The free health service will survive. Free education will survive. Cuba will continue to be an icon for people around the world who want to see liberation and want to see the escape from the domination of globalized capitalism and United States domination.
MP.
Another crucial point made earlier was also ignoring media propaganda. Are the Cuban people liberated from the misery that afflicts the most of the third world? Yes, they can all read and write. They live longer and more of their children survive than in the U.S. Yeah, that's the other part about it is like, despite America's greatest efforts to fucking absolutely destroy the Cuban governance, whether it's autocratic or not, besides the point, like Cuba has unironically thrived in comparison to fucking Afghanistan, dude. So, or the many different examples that I can give you. It's like, I'll just keep pointing to like different places that America has fucked up. Do you want Cuba to be like Afghanistan? Do you want Cuba to be like fucking Iraq? Do you want Cuba to be like Yemen? Do you want Cuba to be like Libya? Do you want Cuba to be like Guatemala? You want Cuba to be like El Salvador?
Somalis in chat, Hasan.
And the answer for many that agitate for American involvement is yes. That's it. Because they don't give a fuck. For all of the wealthy Cubans living in Miami, some well-intentioned and some not, they don't give a fuck as long as they get their land back, okay? As long as they get their fucking land back, they don't care if they enslave the rest of the fucking Cubans to a lifetime of indentured servitude. I got my fucking land back and I got fat American contracts. That's what I fucking want. That's what those rich motherfuckers want. Okay? So if you're a well-intentioned Cuban American living in America and you're like, oh man, like fucking this Cuban government is crazy, dude. It's like you really have to reframe your perspective on never-ending fucking war. Anyway.
Pepe La.
And if there was such a robust counter-revolutionary protest happening in Cuba, Fox News and every other fucking American outlet wouldn't literally be using pro-government, anti-embargo protests
2 months, mate.
as footage to show how much people are fucking rising up in Cuba. Are there people legitimately pissed off that they can't get food? Abso-fucking-lutely. Of course there are. Understandably so. Are people pissed off that the fucking police are beating them? Certainly. What's the difference between, for example, West Germany and Japan after World War II and other interventions? A great question, chatter. Why did democracy successfully get implanted there but nowhere else? That is a remarkably interesting take. I wonder why. I wonder why. Just think about it. I think you can come to the conclusion on your own. I believe in you. Both of those countries that you mentioned were allowed to build capitalist vassal states for the United States of America for the most part. Okay? They were given the opportunity for autonomy in the aftermath of World War II. Countries that had a different perspective. Countries that wanted to democratically become socialist if they wanted to, or countries that were reliant on the USSR did not have that opportunity.
Hassle meow meow hassle.
Well, Japan isn't really democratic either. I mean, yeah. I get that the U.S. is abusive and dominating, and we should absolutely stop our bullying of nations. It's not just bullying, we're killing them, okay? Anyway, but should the U.S. step down as a global hegemon? And if they do, who will take the U.S.'s place? Will they be better or for worse? I mean, why don't you think that, like, fucking Norway is going to invade America? Unless, like, we fucking pull our, you know, unless we have a military base there. Why don't you think that the UK is going to invade America? I don't know. Maybe if you allow countries to have their own autonomy and treat them like fucking normal countries rather than literal just like free land that you can exploit the natural resources of and enslave the population of, they probably are not going to want to fucking murder you, dude.
Hassle.
There's also never been an instant where a hegemonic power is like, all right, we're dialing this back. Okay? Empire does not dial it back. It dies. Norway doesn't have its own autonomy. Give me a break. No, that's... Dude, why? Why do people misunderstand my point? Like, I'm making the exact opposite point. I'm saying that Norway has its own autonomy, and yet they're not trying to fucking invade America. Why is that?
Respects Party MP George Galloway, who has met Fidel Castro. You're a Democrat. Does that pose any problems in terms of how you viewed Fidel Castro?
Well, if people believed the package they've just heard, which could have come from Fox News,
I have to pee so
you
bad.
would think that Fidel Castro was some kind of tyrant. Well, I'm sure, I can assure you that's what your viewers will be concluding. That was the most biased package I've heard today, and I've been on the media all day.
Let's not go over the package. Let's not go over the package. I'm asking you a simple question.
The question is this. Are the Cuban people liberated from the misery that afflicts most of the people of the third world? And the answer is yes. They can all read and write. They live longer than they do in Washington, D.C. Their children are more likely to survive than the children of Washington, D.C.
They can't vote, though, can they?
50 years. Well, you know, health and longevity and education, free at that, these are human rights too.
But does that not pose you a problem as a Democrat, that they can't vote?
If you will let me finish, I'll come on to that point. If it were not for the 50 years of siege, blockade, assassination, invasion, subversion by the most powerful country in the world, just 75 miles away, then these other rights would have been achieved too. You'd be better addressing your questions to the United States of America, which for 9 administrations in a row has done everything it could to destroy the Cuban Revolution, precisely because it's an example to the people of the third world, not least Latin America, where more and more of them are following it.
But you can't blame Washington for the lack of democracy, can you, in Cuba?
Yes, you can.
And there's no doubt that some people in Cuba want democracy and want a say in their affairs.
Well, we all want democracy, but the facts are that in Latin America, the only way to get elected now is to profess friendship with Fidel Castro and opposition to George Bush, none of which was reflected in your package. Fidel Castro, Hugo Chavez seem like the men of the hour, don't they, rather than Milton Friedman and Ronald Reagan?
Well, why don't they go to...
Again, this newscaster dude, just search up his career. He bums up to the conservatives. Yeah, I mean, he famously shit on Robert Downey Jr. so hard that he left the interviewer, by the way. So candidates in municipal elections in Cuba get nominated. Yes, their election system is very localized, but at the tippy top, there's a one party. But their election systems are really interesting and super fucking local. Candidates in municipal elections in Cuba get nominated and elected by the people living in the municipalities, and they even voted on a new constitution in 2019 that was approved by 90% of the people with a participation rate of 90%. It's still the opposite of having multiple parties. You only have so much control over your own area. For the record, this guy that we're watching is a bit of a psycho, okay? Didn't he fucking have like anti-Semitic takes and shit? Like, he's making the correct arguments, but he's been on a journey, lol. He's voting Tory, lol. What you're describing about a limited amount of control literally happens anywhere that has neoliberalism. No, it's not the same. Neoliberal capitalism and governments under neoliberal capitalism in the Western world absolutely create this notion that you have full security, full autonomy, full freedom. Okay? It's incorrect, but it doesn't matter. People believe it, and that's a really successful, in my opinion, really successful and really viable method of control. If control is an absolute necessity for any sort of governance, as I believe it is, then the best way to do that is by making people feel as though they have freedom, rather than telling them, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, you don't have any fucking freedom right now. Let's be real. You know? I'm not gonna watch the George Galloway video of him acting like he's a fucking cat, okay? There's another
To death this, but
So this was like the conversation we started with the fucking embargo.
To be the case. And the United States regularly authorizes the export of agricultural products, medicine, medical equipment, and humanitarian goods to Cuba. And since 1992 has authorized the export of billions of dollars of those goods to Cuba. So that's simply inaccurate.
Yeah, thanks for authorizing Cuba getting fucking medical supplies, dude. That's so nice of America to like authorize medical supplies coming into Cuba. Like, shut the fuck up. The question, as I said once more, and this is how we're going to end this fucking segment. The question I said once more is, why is there a fucking embargo? And why hasn't Hasan Abi run the 60-second ad break yet? Okay, those are the two fucking questions that everyone is asking. Why hasn't he run the fucking ad break yet? Well, I'm running it now. But fear not. There is a way that you can avoid the ads by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Okay? Why are you afraid of the Arizona audit? I'm not, dude. I was just kidding. Why the fuck would I be afraid of that? It's just a waste of time. Another way to avoid the ads is by using AdBlock or VPN. Here's the ad now. Okay. My man said, why are you afraid of the Arizona audit results? I'm just terrified, dude.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. Now that you've had a few days to think about it, does this White House still think the protests in Cuba are happening because people are upset about a rise in COVID cases there, or is there some thought maybe given to the possibility that they are protesting because they are sick of communism?
Well, Peter, first I would say communism is a failed ideology, and we certainly believe that. It has failed the people of Cuba. They deserve freedom. They deserve a government that supports them, whether that is making sure they have health and medical supplies, access to vaccines, or whether they have economic opportunity and
I think if the neoliberal regime here in the United States wants to fucking make an argument to lifting the embargoes while simultaneously, saying communism bad, communism wrong, just literally say, like, communism's so wrong, it's destined to fail. So why are we trying to fucking, prevent it from failing? Let him fail.
prosperity. And instead, this has been a government, an authoritarian communist regime that has repressed its people and has failed the people of Cuba. Hence, we're seeing.
Yeah, dude. Anytime there is a protest happening, it's a direct failure of the ideology. There couldn't be any other fucking reasons. I mean, yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Which is precisely why capitalism has fucking been an abysmal failure. That's why motherfuckers were protesting this past year. So thank you. I agree. Okay, there you go. Time to fucking, I don't know. What did the psychotic Miami mayor say? You know, time to fucking fly the bombers over Cuba. What a sick fuck, dude. What a disgusting fucking take from just a gigantic piece of shit talking about how we need to start drone striking Cuba. Like, how dare you fucking talk about like how you're fucking Cuba? Do you have any family members? You sick, nasty, evil fuck, dude. You fucking piece of shit. That's a worm. That's a worm-ass motherfucker, okay? You can fucking shit on me all you want. But the moment that you see people protesting in Cuba and you're like, your first reaction is to fucking bomb Cuba, you are a psychopath. You are a brutal, villainous psychopath, okay? Piece of shit. God damn, dude. That was so insane. Let's watch that again. I was so fucking... I was so triggered by that idiotic take, dude. And what's Cuba going to do? How are they going to retaliate? They got nothing. Let me find that video again. That fucking sick freak. That Miami mayor. What the fuck's his name?
Hassel.
Absolute psychopath, dude. I want to see the video, man. Where's the fucking video? I know Francis Suarez, but like, I want to see the video. I can't find the Twitter video that was like... Where is it? 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 Francis Suarez. Oh, here it is. Let's watch this again. I need you to understand how psychopathic and bloodthirsty these motherfuckers are. And I focused on... unfortunately, in this video, I focused a little too much on like how Fox News was engaging in manufacturing consent.
Policies that empower them and help them improve their lives. Do you think that President Biden, looking at this situation, will lift that embargo? And do you think that's what he should do?
No, I don't think the embargo is cruel at all. And I think that the Cuban people are not asking for the embargo is cruel at all. And
their lives. Do you think that President Biden, looking at this situation, will lift that embargo? And do you think that's what he should do?
No, I don't think the embargo is cruel at all.
I mean, fuck this guy. You're really gonna fucking sit here and cry that like Cubans called this guy a worm?
Love you, chat and
i.e. Gusano? Really? That's what you're gonna fucking cry about, dude? Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I choose to fucking take on significantly more important issues than that. That's a straight up ghoul, bro. That dude is like, worm is a nice thing to say about this motherfucker, okay?
Situation will lift that embargo, and do you think that's what he should do?
No, I don't think the embargo is cruel at all. And I think that the Cuban people are not asking for a lifting of the embargo. They're going on.
Dog. Hey, dumbass. Where is that dumbass who said the embargo is not cool? He didn't say the embargo is not cool. He said the embargo is not cruel, you fucking idiot. And he said the Cuban people are not asking to lift the embargo.
At Hasan Abiyah stream,
bro, ask your own fucking constituents in Miami if they want to fucking... Ask the constituents in Miami if they want to fucking lift the embargo.
Why is America so obsessed with freeing other countries?
Fucking hog, dude. Absolute hog.
9 months has.
He's not saying cruel. He's not saying cool. He's saying cruel. He's saying
out on the streets every single day talking about the failure.
even like Cuban Americans, they want to
Can't believe
fucking.
it's been a month already. Thanks for the daycare.
Even
spot free.
Cuban Americans, like, even if they fucking despise the Castro, not the revolution, but like at least the current Cuban regime, even if they
My first
despise
kid's
it,
due in 6 days,
they still want to lift the embargo so they can send fucking money to their families, dude. You sick fuck. Like, literally, there are very few Cubans that are like, yeah, no, fucking, the embargo's great, dude. It's sick. I really love not being able to send money to my fucking grandma, dude. I love it, dude. Straight up. My favorite thing is, unironically, not being able to send money to my fucking family, dude. Psycho. Bro, don't talk like you understand Cuban Americans. You aren't from here, Mr. California. Man, I don't need to fucking understand Cuban Americans. I understand humanity. And this is an inhumane demon right here. I don't give a fuck,
Thanks
dude.
for
Suck
all
my
you do, love
cock.
you.
Oh, bro, no, bro. I understand Cubans, bro. I'm from Miami, bro, so I get Cubans, bro. They actually fucking love not being able to send money to their fucking parents, bro. It's sick.
Of the communist regime to provide for its people. And I don't understand why that's so difficult for people to understand. It has failed for 6 decades. And what should be being contemplated right now is a coalition of potential.
As a Latino, I would say gusano is the same slang. The way you use hog to describe cruel conservatives is not racially charged, it's politically charged. Not as hate, but as frustration. Yeah, it's fucking lame when like white people are calling people gusanos, for sure. Because it's like, it just reeks of like, I just learned a cool new word and I'm just going to say it because I'm with it, right? It does. Having said that, though, to like liken it to some fucking major ethnic slur is so psychotic and disrespectful to the plenty of ethnic slurs out there. And you are absolutely relying on white liberals not recognizing that like brown people and white people of Hispanic origin could be insanely cruel to one another. Okay? You're like, oh, wait a minute. It's a term that, Latino people use. So obviously, fuck, oh my God, it must be an ethnic slur. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Seriously. That's not true. A lot of older Cuban Americans hate Castro so much they don't want the U.S. to give in and to his regime and lift the embargo. Okay, well, they're psychopaths, dude. What? Just because your fucking grandparents and like, that's the other part of this. Like, just because someone's parents are fucking Cuban, but also delusional, psychopathic maniacs doesn't mean I'm going to be like, oh, well, I guess they're Cuban. Oh, no, dude. I guess they're Cuban, so they must know better. Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that chatter is not making that argument. I know that. I know that chatter is not making that argument. But it's such a fucking insanely idiotic thing to be like, well, here are some psychos who want to keep, like, wanting to keep crippling the Cuban economy, not allowing them to trade, restricting everything they do, and also not even letting you fucking send money to your family back in Cuba. Like, well, those guys are actually right then.
You should debate their grandma on Discord.
I feel like you're hyperfixating on the embargo and that isn't the main reason for the protest. Yeah, it's terrible, but I feel like the Cuban regime is trying to push the blame on the protest towards the embargo. Dog, it doesn't fucking matter what the people are protesting about. Okay? Of course I'm going to hyperfocus on the main problem, dude. What the fuck?
Ay.
One, those conditions are partially, if not entirely, as a consequence of the fucking embargoes. Okay? And two, that is something that we can stop. Okay? That's something that we can stop. Countries have uprisings. Countries have protests. It's a part of how countries operate, okay? We had fucking protests. People have legitimate demands from their government. If you want a country to be able to successfully operate and work on its own, you can't be constantly trying to fucking murder their administrations, agitate for war against them, and then literally put a 70-year fucking lock on all of their goddamn trade, and then be like, well, we let some of the medicine go through. Like, oh, sick, dude. Never mind. Never fucking mind, dude. Like, these fucking idiots are so hyper-focused on the wrong shit. Yes, you would call someone who isn't a Cuban a gusano, you fucking idiot. It's the same thing as motherfuckers in Venezuela, too. This is what Latin Americans consider counter-revolutionary, pro-American imperialist reactionaries. That's what they fucking call them. It just means worm. That's why I was talking about it. Yeah. Also, how is it a fucking ethnic slur in the way that people are trying to make it to be an ethnic slur? You're just self-reporting that you don't understand the demographic makeup of Cuba, which is one of the most diverse fucking countries as a consequence of the slave trade and numerous other factors. Like, oh, well, it's the ethnic slur, dude. Oh, really? Such a racial slur. Yeah, that's how it started, but that's a goalpost switch. You fucking motherfucker. You literally, as soon as you get back into a fucking corner, you're like, oh, well, that's how it started, but you would realistically never use it like that. First of all, I don't even fucking use it. I don't think it's like relevant to be fucking used. I say that it's lame, okay? I admit that it's lame as a white person to be like, gusano, 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 okay? It's like you're like a kid who learned a new word. I know that every single fucking person thinks like I'm constantly dropping the G slur. How is it a goalpost switch? Because you literally went from, would you call someone who isn't Cuban a gusano, to, oh, well, okay, I guess you would, but that's how it started, but you would realistically never use it like that. No, motherfucker. People do. People absolutely do. So you're shifting away from the main argument that you made. Would you ever call someone from a random country other than Cuba, like Sweden or Greece, a gusano? Why are you mentioning Sweden or Greece? Why are you not mentioning that this is still a localized term? No, what I'm saying is you wouldn't call someone a gusano that isn't Cuban. Yes, you would! And people do! Get it to your thick, dense fucking skull. Okay? And people do. It's still, like I said, it's still fucking lame. But it's not like a fucking ethnic slur. Oh my God. It's an ethnic slur in the same way that fucking calling someone a redneck is an ethnic slur, or a honky is an ethnic slur, or a cracker is an ethnic slur, or Karen is an ethnic slur, or I guess a sexist slur. Okay? It is the language of the oppressed against those who wish to continue their oppression. I am not being oppressed by the fucking reactionaries. So when I use it, it's whack. And I admit it. But to say that this is an unacceptable thing to say, oh my God, how dare you? It's like, shut the fuck up, bitch. That's my fucking take on it, okay? It's so weird that, like, there is a weird community out there who literally does not care about someone calling black people Uncle Toms, sending fucking burning crosses to black people, okay? Someone who has written a manifesto on, like, why he says the N-word all the time and no one should be able to fucking get mad at him for it.
It's not an ethnic slur.
Like, this community is now all of a sudden offended by gusano. Yeah, maybe people, like, it's almost like if they said the N-word, someone said the N-word, you would have no problem with it. But gusano, oh my God. The inherent irony is that you keep trying to fucking liken it to the N-word over and over again in these arguments, and it's so fucking stupid. It's so insane, only to backtrack immediately and be like, oh, no one is saying it's like the N-word, okay? It's just bad. It's just a slur. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of pejoratives out there, man. I know. Tough titties. I'm from El Salvador. Marxists here use it regularly. My grandfather's a Marxist and he used it against other imperialist capitalists. Yeah. God damn, dude. But good luck on your endless endeavor to make gusano be an unacceptable fucking term, okay? I'm sure maybe it'll work. This community is a bunch of white teenagers. That's why, unfortunately. My community is a bunch of white teenagers? That's why? Dude, the fucking virtue signaling and the fucking random cries coming from like one of the most idiotic fucking points of view. My lord, dude. Oh, sorry. Unfortunately, this community is a bunch of white leftists, and that's precisely why it's okay to fucking bomb Cuba like this guy is suggesting. What happened, dude? I thought we were talking about the term gusano and how it's like a fucking ethnic slur or some shit. It is absolutely a political slur. You call it a government, not a regime. It just legitimizes the fucking dumb lip talking points, like not caping for the Cuban government or anything, but their legitimate government undeniably cares, which is a lot more than others. Okay, dude, stop. Now, like, you guys are fucking babies too. And this is something I have to say to my own community as well. Just because something is not a fucking, like, racial or ethnic slur doesn't mean you're just gonna be fucking blasting it over and over again. You sound like a little fucking baby, okay? It's whack as fuck. Just like if you have anyone, if you meet a single fucking person that is Cuban, and they're like, yeah, I don't like that the fucking Cuban government is like beating protesters. And they're like, oh, there's a gusano. He's like, yeah, okay, well, you're just like, you just don't know what you're talking about, okay? Stop acting like you just heard a fucking new slur that just got unlocked for you, so you have to fucking say it all the time. Anyway. Yeah. I love the argument that, like, Gusano was like the N-word. Like, oh, you know, you should fucking not say it as a racial slur. It's like, well, you're not saying the N-word. Clearly, there was a fucking, you know, hierarchy there of slurs. I don't hear you saying the G word. Okay? God damn. The people trying to spam Gusano and TTS or chat are the same type of teenager that tries to say the N-word or voice as streamers. No, chat. I'm not comparing the words. I'm comparing the type of person that does that thing for a reaction. Yes. I can't believe you're calling cops pigs. The comments on our YouTube Cuba vid are about Cuba are full of young Cuban lefties saying that you're 100% correct describing the psycho far-right family members law. It's pretty funny. The reason why I wanted to fucking, you know, lock people into this, like, moral consistency thing is because it's pretty funny. I want people to, like, literally have to describe what, I use Gusano as a slur against Cubans because I hate Cubans and also hate anti-Castro sentiment and love the Cuban Revolution. Yeah, that's the other part of it that's, like, so stupid. It's like, oh yeah, it's such an ethnic slur, which for some weird reason doesn't encompass the entire ethnicity of Cuba. I wonder why. It's almost like there's other conditions. And that's when motherfuckers turn around and go, oh, well, that's like saying N-word means a specific black person. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay? The N-word was not to dehumanize specific types of black people, you racist fuck. Okay? That's why you're wrong. You don't even know anything. You don't even, because you're fucking 17 years old and we're saying the N-word until last year, so you didn't even come up with a fucking crafty argument. I'm literally arguing against all of the takes that I've read in the past fucking, you know, 12 hours on the internet, okay? It is so incredibly disingenuous. All while Cubans on the ground are getting their asses beat by the police, and more importantly than that, the Cubans on the ground do not have access to fucking medical supplies and food, and are facing gigantic inflation, brought about by a crippling fucking embargo that's been going on for 60, 70 years. 70 fucking years, dude. Gringo is an unacceptable slur by that standard. Yeah, I know. Yeah, don't say gringo. Don't say Karen. Don't say redneck. Don't say hick. Don't say honky. These are all unacceptable ethnic slurs. Like, no. Anyway, hopefully, you know, some of these motherfuckers will grow up. Probably not, though, because it's hot to just be like, dude, I fucking hate Hasan so much. He is such a fucking cockroach. That fucking roach Turk, dude. Uncle Tom is a racist term used to discriminate against specific types of black people, and you cannot say it. Are you saying that the history of racial fucking slurs within the slave trade are similar to rich Cuban people, okay? Rich Cuban people escaping Cuba and consistently justifying to bomb Cuba or continue an embargo? Which, by the way, I said it. Like, I said Uncle Tom. I literally called Jesse Lee Peterson Uncle Ruckus to his face. Or, yeah, I did. Uncle Ruckus is what I was like, I can't believe that you are like Uncle Ruckus. Like, you're like a real human being that is like this. Freaking, I can say Turkish because I'm Kurdish, right, Hasan? Please let me be a little racist to troll Turkish nationalists. Please don't ban. Anyway. But if you consider the impact that slurs are mean and being mean is bad, I do. But I'm not a nice person, so I'm not a kind person. Even though it itself is not a racial ethnic slur, you cannot deny that white lefties are using it in a racialized way. Sure, but again, it's fucking insignificant, and those white lefties are gonna grow the fuck up and stop being babies eventually, I hope. Okay? You just sound whack as fuck. And you sound lame when you say it because you just learned a new fucking word. But to say that this is dehumanizing, like, oh, the plight, dude. Fuck. Oh, the plight. It's maybe insignificant to you because you're not Latino. Really? We moved beyond, like, actually, fuck the embargo. What we should be talking about is, like, what's going on in Cuba. To actually even fuck talking about what's going on in Cuba on the ground. To, like, random white lefties calling random other fucking people that they perceive to be Cuban gusanos. Really? This reeks of, like, oh my God, we really need to stop the Bernie bros spamming snakes under Elizabeth Warren's fucking Twitter replies, okay? If that's your main concern, then I'm sorry, brother. You don't literally give a fuck. Like, you don't give a fuck about anything. You just care about, like, the most innocuous dumb shit. It literally is just a diversion. God damn, dude. It's not my main concern, it's the topic at hand. Yes, because the topic at hand now is this. Because it's a fucking diversion. It's an idiotic conversation to, like, get one on, okay? On people.
Potential military.
Stop being fucking suckers to this dumb shit, dude.
action in Cuba, similar to what has happened in both administrations, in both Republican and Democrat administrations. In Republican with Bush in Panama, they deposed Noriega, and that country had peaceful democracy for decades. And you had interventions by Democratic presidents, taking out Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. It's a sovereign country where they took out a terrorist that probably saved thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives, and President Clinton in Kosovo, intervening in a humanitarian issue with airstrikes. So there have been many opportunities.
Do you think that pinning the majority of the blame on the embargo could be seen as distracting from the terrible shit that the Cuban government frequently engages in? No, I think the embargo is significantly worse than what the Cuban government is engaging in. And a lot of the things that the Cuban government is currently engaging in are because they are in a constant state of fucking war from the United States of America. Okay? That's the answer. I mean, the fucking mayor of Miami is literally in front of you being like, we need to do airstrikes in Cuba. And you're like, but what about fucking free speech, dude? I don't understand. Like, they don't have internet. Like, yeah, I know. That fucking sucks. They should. They absolutely should. They have every right to fucking protest that. And hopefully the Cuban government fucking it does not deny their humanitarian needs. Okay? But you're a fucking psycho if we're literally watching a Cuban Miami mayor literally be like, we need to fucking bomb Cuba and the embargo was good. And you're like, what about the internet, dude? They don't have internet. Oh, no. Oh, fuck. I know, dude.
Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. It's a sovereign country where they took out a terrorist that probably saved thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives, and President Clinton in Kosovo, intervening in a humanitarian issue with air.
Strawman harder. That person, I literally read their fucking comment, dude. I literally read their comment and responded to it. That is not a straw man, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? Did you just learn what a straw man is like yesterday and forgot already or something?
Strikes. So there.
The embargo covers medical supplies. Can you fact check yourself? Oh, that's fucking crazy, dude. Does it? Does it? I should fact check myself because the embargo still stops medical supplies from going in. It's just expedited, okay? Why is there an embargo to begin with? Why? Why is there an embargo to begin with? That's the question. The question isn't like, are you expediting fucking medical supplies? No, the question is, why are you stopping at any point goods from coming into Cuba that they paid for? Why? That's the question, you fucking idiot. The question isn't like, can we have a more ethical embargo? Like, Cuba's on the ground, or Cubans in general aren't like, can we have a more ethical embargo? Like, where, you know, I just want to be able to send money to my fucking family. Like, can we just do that? Like, what, you know, do an embargo on Cuba, but like ethically, okay? Like, you fucking, where are you learning these talking points from? Whoever is like fucking feeding you this dumb propaganda is not doing a good job. I'm just gonna let you know. You're literally just arguing to be like, actually, why can we, you know, do a situation where like maybe some of the food supplies are being prevented from entering the country that they fucking paid for in like a 2-month period. But then when it comes to syringes, for example, they'll come in an expedited process. They still get stopped, but in an expedited process in a 1-month circumstance. Man, that seems like a good way to go about it. Like, why is it up to you, you fucking animal? Why do you think you have control over another country's entire fucking economy, that you literally threaten other countries with sanctions if they actually engage in trade with this country for 70 years? Woo! I'm done. I can't do this anymore, dude. Your fucking centrist brain rot is hurting my soul. I literally have to smuggle medicine in my luggage for my grandma. Sorry, dude. Sorry, okay? There's going to be an ethical embargo, okay? So you won't be able to smuggle the medicine anymore. But, like, if you want to send money via PayPal, like, who knows? They might be going to revolutionary Marxist terrorists. So we're going to stop that, okay? I'm a white liberal living in Iowa, and I think that maybe we shouldn't do that. Like, we are so, you know how people say America is so white supremacist that, like, trying to dismantle or trying to criticize racism feels like you're criticizing America. It's kind of like that same energy here where it's like, we are so comfortable absolutely fucking the rest of the planet that it's like, that's the default position. So anyone that tells me that that's not the default position, I'm going to be like, hold on. You're really going to tell me we can't restrict goods from coming into a different country? I don't know. You need to convince me on that. I don't know. Maybe I could fucking believe your point of view if the Cubans were nicer to me. Like, what the fuck? Come on. We're going to give him some potatoes. Not all the potatoes, but some of the potatoes. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Come on. We're giving him fucking expedited medication. Come on. Anyway. I think we covered this up and down, in and out. I just want to end it on this note where this demon, okay, this hog, this worm, can't believe he's calling a Latino man different animal names. Oh my God, cancel him. Is unironically advocating to bomb Cuba after turning around and literally, okay, turning around and literally saying that the crippling 70-year-long embargo is actually poggers, okay? Not weird champ at all. Actually poggers and should continue. So that his own constituents can't even send fucking money or medication to their grandma living in Cuba.
Terrorists have probably saved thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives, and President Clinton in Kosovo intervening in a humanitarian issue with airstrikes. So there have been many, many opportunities in the history.
Are you suggesting airstrikes in Cuba?
What I'm suggesting is that that option is one that has to be explored. And
yeah, no, sorry. He wasn't saying we should bomb Cuba immediately. He was saying we should explore that option. Fuck. My bad. What a psycho, dude. What a fucking psycho. Like, we need to engage in humanitarian bombing.
Cannot be just simply discarded as an option that is not on the table. And there's a variety of ways the military.
And as I said before, we got caught up in this, but that's literally a pro-regime or pro-government protest. The 26 Julio flag is literally the fucking the pro-Castro flag. So rather ironic that they didn't ask this Cuban man what this fucking flag meant when they posted it as B-roll. They're making this seem like it's the anti-government protest.
What I'm suggesting is that that option is one that has to be explored and cannot be just simply discarded as an option that is not on the table. And there's a variety of ways the military can do it, but that's something that needs to be discussed and needs to be looked at as a potential.
And also, this literally says this was also another like revolution in the streets statement on the fucking statement on this fucking sign that they censored.
Potential option in addition to a variety of other options that can be discussed.
Yeah, a repressive government.
Why are they so bloodthirsty? They're psychos, dude. They don't give a fuck. Okay. What does he want to bomb the protesters? He probably wants to like execute leaders of state or something. That's how fucking comfortable. That's how fucking callous these dipshits are. They're just like, what? I just want to fucking what? Like, I just want to fucking bomb some of these people. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. We just want to do like some airstrikes. Who cares? Like, just having a normal one, dude, on fucking Fox News, just talking about why we should be, bombing Cuba. Very sick. Anyway, we're going to get to the bombshell report. But before I do that, Britney Spears, okay, free Britney, baby.